You'll hear me say that a lot. Algorithms are lazy. Just because there's now AI, it doesn't make them not lazy.
Brands now get to that point where they cannot squeeze more blood from their smaller pool of existing customers. That is a huge problem. That is not something that you can solve in 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. It's going to take years of work. Your profitability metrics are no longer important.
Go on a single measure. You want the number of new customers to be increasing versus the number of existing customers who's churning. Inside the ad platforms, we're obviously seeing a whole bunch shift with Meta, and we don't want to get too much in the granular here around what that looks like with Advantage Plus campaigns and Performance Max. But I think there's been a very interesting trend because of this granular shift in the background of what's actually happening at a business objective and marketing level, is that over 23 and 24, a lot of brands may have seen a slowdown or a plateau of revenue, which is accepted because of the macroeconomics and feeling of interest rates. But as we're now entering or have entered 2025, and now we're halfway through, starting to see a bit of a snowball of decline that was hidden in plain sight in 23 and 24. And specifically what we've witnessed over a number of ad accounts, and particularly within a fashion vertical, but let's say over retail, is a declining of new customer acquisition. And the algorithms are lazy. You'll hear me say that a lot. Algorithms are lazy. Just because there's now AI, it doesn't make them not lazy. So if you gave it a ROAS or a marketing efficiency ratio, MER target, it might be able to hit that target, but it's going to find it in the easiest way possible, which is customers that were going to buy anyway. So very, very pointy remarketing, and even existing customers. And something quite shocking that we're seeing is even with exclusions on existing customers, particularly on the Meta side, but it looks like on Google, it is still going after and serving your ads to a majority of existing customers, or at least from an acquisition. And so what we've seen hidden in plain sight is declining new customer acquisition numbers, which it feels like 2025 is when that's really shine a light on. Any views on what the ad accounts are doing from with this Advantage Plus or Performance Max?
I'm going to reframe that to a business owner.
Let's do it.
So yeah, what we're noticing today is that there's some businesses getting crushed, and it's getting to that sort of red alert stage. So we're seeing some businesses come in 2025 who are getting absolutely crushed, and the signals were evident from around 2022. What's happened is that customer acquisition after COVID was easy. Lots of people came in and were buying products and services and doing really well. The problem is that the way that digital advertising often works is it leans sometimes heavier into remarketing. So it gets better performance. Surprisingly, your existing customers are more likely to buy again. But what we've seen in the last couple of years is that without differentiation targeting existing customers versus new customers, a lot of advertising dollars has been spent on your existing customers. They have been declining over time, year on year on year. And the result has been your performance looks great because the ad spend has been going to these customers. The numbers look fantastic. But what's been trailing behind? New customer acquisition. And as a result, not only have existing customers been declining, but new customer acquisition has also been declining. And we're starting to see brands now get to that point where they cannot squeeze more blood from their smaller pool of existing customers, and they haven't been generating enough new customers to grow. That is a huge problem. That is not something that you can solve in 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. It's going to take years of work to basically get to a point where you have sustainable growth in your customer base. And the reason for this is that, ad platforms are likely to retarget your existing customers. You need to be really, really conscious of how many new customers are coming in each month and how many existing customers are buying on each month. If both of those are declining, you have a major problem. So ask whoever you need to ask today to make sure that both those numbers are increasing.
We're entered a world where the modern media buyer is the person that can best put in inputs. So if your algorithm has been trained and you've been happy spending like a sailor, and unfortunately we've seen a lot of these group coaching and gurus saying the problem is you didn't know how to calculate your fixed costs, spend like a drunken sailor, and brands have listened, and it looked like there was results because the marketing efficiency ratio, which is your total spend, so your total revenue divided by your total spend, hey, we hit our number, but that's including email marketing numbers, that's including SEO, that's including existing customers coming back and buying. And so brands have set these really high MER numbers. We need a 5 or a 6 or a 7, but they've actually not been factoring or tracking how many new customers are we acquiring. So the algorithms for years have now been trained on, hey, this is what success looks like. You can no longer just turn around. This is the challenge of AI. You can't just turn around tomorrow and tell AI, hey, everything, all those data points you have for the last 6 months, 18 months, 2 years, that's wrong. We want you now to just focus over here. This is going to be a long, slow process for some brands that, as Duncan said, it's not a 1 or 3 month fix. There's things you can do immediately to start correcting the course, but we've seen over a number of brands that you really, really have to force it to get away from existing customers. Now, the other thing that's interesting, thinking about the modern media buyer, is how much that has been, a lot of media buyers are trained to believe what the ad accounts say is true. So some examples of this is, let's take some fashion brands where we're seeing a continual trend of what people buy as their first purchase is not necessarily what they buy in their second and third and ongoing. And so media buyer looks at the ad account and goes, oh, t-shirts are the best performing. Then we look at Shopify and it mirrors that. Wow, we're selling a lot of t-shirts. So your product development team starts making more t-shirts, you do more drops, all your ads are featuring t-shirts, your UGC, everything is focused on t-shirts, which is perfect for serving existing customers because that's what they like to buy. But when you go back through the data, you start to see that actually it's black pants or it's jeans that people actually like buying as the first purchase, and we've reduced how much we've got, we've changed our size, and often this is now a problem that you've taken from not just your ad account but into your total business. So it is imperative that you're looking at your data clearly, focused on new customers.
I would implore business owners today listening, or marketing managers, but for your digital marketing, don't just focus on the profitability metrics that you concentrate on, whatever they are. Make sure as part of those metrics, you know the number of new customers coming in per month and the number of returning customers each month. So long as both of those are growing, the profitability metrics are great. If both of those are declining, your profitability metrics are no longer important.
If you want a shortcut metric, adding an A to MER, so acquisition, marketing efficiency ratio, is a good way to look at it. But again, you don't want to just go on a single measure. You want the number of new customers to be increasing versus the number of existing customers who's churning.